There is no question that back when Fairy was introduced in 2013, it really shook up the game of Pokemon. I mean, it really provided a weakness to one of the most overpowered typings of the time, and that being Dragon. It also helped some Pokemon become more usable, as it gave them an extra type that provided some extra firepower that they desperately deserved. And if you go even further back to 1999, the Dark and Steel type that was introduced, providing a counter to some of the most prolific types at that time, being Psychic and of course Dragon. But what if Pokemon added a new type? I mean, it's been 12 years since they added the Fairy type. I think it's about time to introduce another one. And what better type to be added than the most requested Pokemon type that there is among fans in the Pokemon community? That being the Sound type. I mean, there has been so many talks and videos online about whether Game Freak should add this new type. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why they should add the Sound type, so strap in as I tell you about the newest Pokemon type being Sound. As you know, there are two types of Pokemon, physical and special. Physical types are usually associated with tangible, solid, or direct contact actions. I mean, you have perfect examples being rock, steel, and fighting, which matches up perfectly as they are tangible, solid, or direct contact actions. On the other hand, special types include those of elements, nature, and energy-based types. Once again, the special types line up great with the descriptions, as you have water, grass, and fire. Out of these two type specialties, I think Sound belongs as a special type rather than a physical one. This reasoning is based on the sheer nature of sound, which involves vibrations and waves. Sound just fits so well with the other special types. The addition of the Sound type being special instead of physical will make it equal, as there are 9 physical types and 9 special types. Like every Pokemon type, there are relationships that come with it, and Sound is no different. On the offensive hand, Sound is super effective against Psychic because Sound can disrupt concentration and the mental processes of a Psychic type. Sound is super effective against water because sound waves can travel efficiently through the water. And finally Fairy, because loud noises can be unsettling and disruptive to the magical nature of Fairy types. Staying on the side of offense, Sound would not be super effective against Steel because metals and machines are often resistant to sound. Rock, because dense materials like rock can absorb and dampen the sound. Ghost is on here because they can be elusive and hard to target with sound. On the defensive side, Sound is super weak to electric because sound waves can be disrupted by electric interferences. Fighting, because physical strikes can overpower the effects of sound. Poison, because toxic gases or substances can muffle sound and reduce its effectiveness. Staying on the defensive side, Sound is also resistant to normal because basic sounds are particularly effective against specialized sounds. Flying, because birds and other flying creatures often rely on sound and can navigate or avoid sound-based attacks. And finally we have Bug. Bug is on here because many insects use sound for communication and are accustomed to handling it. Like the Dragon type, Sound could be immune to itself because 2 sounds cancel each other out. From all the interactive with the other types, Sound is sure to shake up the Pokemon competitive scene for good. The Pokemon here on this list need to have some form or resemblance to Sound, starting with the Ekans line. Ekans is here because it's based off a rattlesnake. And what is the main defense for Rattlesnake? Well, it's our iconic rattling sound. So it just makes sense to be a poison and sound type. As for Arbok, it gains access to sound-based moves like Screech, Spit Up, and Belch, which are all common sounds. So why not also make him poison and sound? The Wigglytuff line. These Pokemon are most well known for their songs that put people to sleep. It would make total sense to replace the normal type with sound, causing them to be Sound and Fairy. Next is actually the Zubat, the Woobat, and the Noibat lines. I'm putting all of these lines together as they share the same reasoning. They're all bats and use echolocation to get around, and sound is a key part of how they survive. I mean, just look at Noivat and Noivern. You can't tell me that they're not perfect for sound. Because of all this, I'd say that all these Pokemon would be sound and flying. The Whismur line. I mean, just look at them. They scream sound type Pokemon.
And explode!
Ninjask. Ninjask is a cicade, and cicades are well known for their loud yet annoying mating calls. Thus, it would be perfect to turn Ninjask into a bug and sound Pokemon. Besides, we already have enough bug and flying types, Wailmer and Wailord. Obviously, they're based off whales. These animals are so loud, they can literally kill you with their blowholes. Because of this, I think water and sound would be great on these two Pokemon. Kricketot and Kricketune. I mean, come on, both of them are literally based off crickets that are also musicians. They've got to be bug and sound. Chingling and Chimecho. They're wind chimes, come on. It's pretty simple. Psychic sound makes total sense. Next on the list is Chatot. Need I say more? Sound and flying for him. Next is Audino. I mean, Audino literally has the word audio in its name. And some of its Pokédex entries go on about how it has very sensitive ears. Mono sound for Audino. Then when it mega evolves, it could become fairy sound. Maractus. This Pokemon apparently makes a maraca-like sound anywhere it goes. So grass and sound it is. Meloetta. Its whole gimmick is that it's singing. Sound and psychic for the base form, and then for its alternate form, let's go with sound and fighting. Klefki. I mean, come on. It's literally a set of keys. What do keys do? They jingle.
Boo-boo keys.
Plus, it never really seemed like a fairy type to me, so steel and sound would fit much better. The Poplio line. They're all based on seals, sirens, and opera singers, which are all super well known for their sounds, of course. So let's make the whole line water and sound. The Pikipek line, they're literally based off toucans and woodpeckers respectively, and they are both known for making their sounds. I mean, the origin of Trumbeak literally says it all. Trumpet beak. Giving it the flying sound type just makes the most sense. Lycanroc. Lycanroc is literally just a wolf, and what are wolves known for? Making their iconic howling sound. Thus, I would make all forms of Lycanroc rock and sound. The Jangmo line. Their whole gimmick and fighting style is based off their scales clanging together, therefore making a sound wave. I mean, their signature move is literally called clanging scales. And to top that off, one of their abilities is literally soundproof. So let's make them all sound dragon types. The Grookey line. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory, as they are literally all monkeys playing the drums. So the grass and sound type just makes perfect sense for it. The Galarian Zigzagoon line. I mean, they are based off the band Kiss, there's no doubt about it. And on top of that, Piers is also seen performing with Obstagoon in the video game when you battle the gym. So therefore, dark sound is perfect for them. Toxtricity. Toxtricity is based off a guitarist or a bass player. This depends on the form you catch it in, but they both have the same thing in common. They both make sounds by rubbing their bumps on their chest. Because of this, I would make the amped up form electric in sound, but also keep the low key form as poison in sound. This keeps some variety between the two forms. Galarian Mr. Mime and Mr. Rhyme. Their whole gimmick is tap dancing. I mean, come on, you've got to give them ice and sound. It just makes sense. Quaxwell and Quaquavel. I mean, they are literally seen dancing on the battlefield. And even Aqua Step, their signature move, is also a sound-based attack. Therefore, water and sound is great for them. Oinkologne. This one is super obvious. I mean, not only is Oinkologne based off a pig, but it also has the word oink in its name. So normal sound just seems like the perfect fit. Squawkabilly. I mean, come on. Need I say more? Sound flying for sure. Overall, these Pokemon make great candidates for the sound type. These abilities are all having to do with sound already, they just need to have the label of sound. Soundproof. I mean, soundproof already gives immunity to all sound-based moves. Because of the sound type already being immune to sound, having soundproof on the Whismur line and the Jangmo-O line just makes no sense. So I would just keep this ability as it is. However, just take off this ability from those two lines. The next ability is Punk Rock. This ability boosts the power of sound-based moves, but they also take half damage from them. Because this is Toxtricity's signature ability, I would just take off this ability from Toxtricity and give it to some other Pokemon. The last ability here is Liquid Voice. Liquid Voice is an ability that makes water moves sound-based moves, but I would flip it around to where all water moves are sound-based moves. In addition to these abilities, I would add another sound-based ability in the form of Echo Chamber. Similarly to Liquid Voice, this just powers up sound-based moves, but it doesn't have the effect of only taking half damage from them. Overall, these sound-based abilities can really shake up the ability pool and cause some Pokemon to shine. All of the following moves are already classified as sound-based, so why not just give them the typing? These moves include Growl, Roar, Sing, Supersonic, Screech, Snore, Perish Song, Heal Bell, Uproar, Hyper Voice, Metal Sound, Grass Whistle, Howl, Bug Buzz, Chatter, Round, Echoed Voice, Relic Song, Snarl, Noble Roar, Disarming Voice, Parting Shot, Throat Chop, Boom Burst, Confide, Sparkling Aura, Clanging Scales, Clangorous Soul Blaze, Clangorous Soul, Overdrive, Eerie Spell, Torch Song, Alluring Voice, and Psychic Noise. In addition to all these moves, 3 new sound-based moves will be added, the first of which is Sonic Blast. This move could be similar in power to the likes of Terra Blast. Next is Echo Pulse. This can be similar to the likes of Dark Pulse, which has a chance to flinch. And finally, we have Acoustic Wave. This move could work similarly to that of Heat Wave, where it affects both Pokemon in a double battle. Overall, all of these moves, and the new ones I added, will definitely add some depth to each Pokemon's move pool. In conclusion, adding the sound type to the Pokemon universe could truly revolutionize the game, much like the Fairy type did when it was introduced. This new type would not only balance the gameplay by providing new strengths and weaknesses, but also provide new life into many of the existing Pokemon that have sound-based characteristics. As we approach the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus next year, and the eventual Generation 10, I hope that Game Freak seriously considers adding this type into their game.